Hello, it's Phil Thatch here, and this is my first ever live stream on YouTube. That might not be 100% true because I've done some flights of my Phantom 4 a long time ago and streamed those live, but this is the first time I've ever streamed actually just sitting here talking. And what I want to talk about is my struggle to decide what camera to get next. I've put polls on the YouTube channel. I've studied specs and looked at my budget, and I'm really having a hard time figuring out what camera I want to pick up next. And I've kind of got it narrowed down to two. One of them is the Fujifilm X-T4, which I think they're supposed to announce that thing. Well, let's get rid of that. I think they're supposed to announce that thing tomorrow night at midnight. So, we shall see. Fujifilm Rumors has already kind of leaked all the specs and the pricing and everything like that. So who knows if it's right, but if it is right, it's the Fujifilm X-T4 with one lens, which would probably be, oh, hello Heather, which would probably be the, if I get a lens with it, I'll probably get the 16 to 80 f4. That has a 24 to 120 focal length equivalent. And, that would be a really good starting point. It's a continuous f4. It's got, I think it's optically stabilized. It has weather sealing. It's weather resistant. So that'd be a perfect kind of walk around lens for the X-T4. But that camera is expensive comparatively to the other one that I'm considering, which is the Nikon Z50. Right now you can get a Z50 with both of the lenses that come with a Z50, or that can kit with a Z50. I think one of them is a 16 to 50 and the other one's a 50 to 250. You would think I'd have that stuff memorized better. Let's go to B&H and make sure I'm telling you the right thing. But you can get all that for about $12.50, including, I think you can get it even including an F to Z adapter. So, yeah, it's $11.96. $11.96 plus $46. It's $1,243.90 from B&H to get the Z50 with the 16 to 50 millimeter lens and the 50 to 250 millimeter lens, which both of them are supposed to do okay. I mean, this is an inexpensive camera, so those are inexpensive lenses. But I'm really strongly considering it, that because I'm a Nikon guy. You dance with the girl that brought you. And I've got Nikon lenses all over the place that will work with that camera. As far as Fujifilm lenses that will work with that camera, I would have the one lens that comes with it. So that's a pretty big thing. And the Fuji will probably be, I'm thinking the camera for $14.99 and the lens will probably be about $2,200. So that's $1,000 extra bucks for an APS-C camera. Now, of course, the Fujifilm has a lot of things that I really like. I love those the dials that are on the Fujifilm cameras. You've got an ISO dial, click, 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 so you can see exactly what you're doing. It's just cool. It's old school. It's retro. The aperture adjustment is always on the lens, like an old school camera. The shutter speed has a click, click, click. Of course, you can set those to A, and the camera will go fully automatic. I would never do that. But it's really cool. And my buddy Percy gave me this timer that I think will fit into an X-T3. It's from an old Minolta. I bet he's had this thing since 1975. And you can take this thing and twist it and check it out. The little timer will run. And it will, when it gets down to the end of it, it'll make an exposure. Click, click, click. How retro is that? And this thing, it is absolutely brand new condition. It says made in Japan on it. Really cool. I would love to make a video of, you know, making a picture of a waterfall and make a shot of this thing counting down to make the snap. But is that worth spending an extra $1,000? I'm not sure. You know, of course, the Fujifilm's got more megapixels. I think it's 26, and the Z50 is you know, it's 21 or 20.9, something along those lines. But feel free to chime in if you have an opinion between the XT4 and the Z50, the unannounced XT4. Or, you know, my friend David Saylor says I should buy an XT3 because he feels like the price is going to drop quite a bit. So that's an option. So, you know, tell me what you think. But right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the Z50 just because it's quite a bit cheaper, and it works with all my lenses. I mean, just as an example, it works with this. You know, this is a 500 millimeter f4 lens that would hook right up to the Z50, and I think the Z50 would be great for making video. I don't know if any of you watched the video I made using the Z6 to make video of ducks on a pond near me. The Z50 might do even better because it's an APS-C sensor, and I believe if it's like the D500, when you're making video, you can crop it to a further 1.3 on top of the 1.5 to get even more reach. That's the way the D500 does, but the D500 doesn't have good autofocus in video mode where the Z50 does. So there's a pretty stout reason to get a camera that'll work with this. But there's other reasons. You know, when they announced the Z50, the Northrop guy, the old Silver Fox, he made a video. He'd never even seen the camera, and he made a video just trashing it, saying the Z50 was a huge mistake. And I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. First of all, I don't agree with trashing a product you've never used. And I don't agree, you know, just based on the reasons that he said. He thought it was a bad idea to use the same mount as the full frame Z series cameras. I disagree completely with that. I think it's a great idea to use the exact same mount. Let's see, some people are talking. Tim is a Fujifilm user, so his opinion would be biased. That makes complete sense, Tim. I understand. So you're probably leaning towards Fujifilm. And hello, James. Nice to see you. Welcome to the live stream. You know, the Fuji, there's a lot of great things about the Fuji cameras. Of course, I'm not like Tim is. I'm not a Fujifilm user, but what I've learned from just watching videos and things is the Fujifilm cameras are really great straight out of the camera. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hello, Blue. Really great straight out of the camera. They've got all sorts of film simulations. It seems like Eterna is the one I hear the most. And I think that's really great, especially for video, because I don't like to do much color grading to video. I like it to look great straight out of the camera. But for photos, I wouldn't use that at all. I would use RAW and edit. I like to really get in there and work on my photos. But for video, I would love to use like an Eterna film simulation to make my videos look really good. And of course, you know, the XT4, apparently, if the rumors are correct, is going to have a lot of the things that you would need if you were trying to design the perfect camera. It has in-body image stabilization, which the Z50 doesn't have, the XT3 doesn't have. It has a fully articulating flip screen. The camera that I use and Heather uses to vlog is this Nikon, excuse me, is a Canon EOS M50. Neat little camera, tiny lens, fully articulating screen. It works great. And the screen on the X-T4 is going to work just like this. Flips around. You can. I love this. You can twist it and flip it face in to where the screen is not pointing out to be damaged. Really a great idea. And this is a fantastic vlogging camera. I don't know if I did get the Z50. I think I would probably have Heather use it some when she's filming me, but I don't know if I would use it myself personally, because the Z50 is going to have a screen that flips down. I've got kind of an idea to overcome that to where I can use it on a tripod. I'll give you a hint. The camera's going to be upside down and I'll have to flip the video, which is easy to do in the software that I use to put my videos together. But I may just use it for photography. I like the idea of it being really, really small. It's probably about as small as this M50 is. Pretty good bit smaller, in fact, than my Z6. Now, of course, my Z6 is getting bigger because I keep this L bracket on it all the time now. It's great for landscape photography to have that on there all the time, and I really love the way this sun photo L bracket is, because it doesn't get in your way getting the battery out. It doesn't get in your way getting the memory card out. So it's really cool for that. Let's see, Eddie has a Z6 and a Z50. That's awesome. But he's owned and loved the Fuji X-T2 and X-T3. I've gotten results out of all cameras, and they all have certain perks. Agreed. So if they're all good, then maybe pick the one that you have lenses that'll work on. Gosh, I love those knobs. It's so cool. First time I saw an XT camera, I was a little bit late to learn about them. I think it might have been when the X-T3 was new the first time. I got kind of pulled into learning about them, and I just fell in love with the way those knobs looked. They looked so retro, kind of like a Nikon DF, but better. So I thought that was really great. But there's an elephant in the room that I almost ordered an X-T3 instead of my Z6, because they came out about the same time, and I almost ordered one at the same time. But the thing that held me back, and you Fuji guys are probably going to scold me for this, but what held me back is that X-Trans sensor. I think maybe if the X-T4 had switched to a bare sensor, which might be like sacrilegious, although I think the X-T200 has a bare sensor. I think if it had switched to a bare sensor, that may have been the way. And like I say, I still haven't decided yet. If I do order the X-T4, it'll be right after the announcement. It'll be so I can be one of the first people to have it and demonstrate it on YouTube. But the funny thing is, I won't know anything about it. Z50 I'll know everything about, because it'll operate a lot like my Z6. But the X-Trans sensor scares me. It really does, because like I said before, I like to edit my pictures. And the software that I know how to operate is Lightroom. And you know, there's differing opinions, but the majority of the people that I listen to and have read their opinion say that Lightroom is not good for editing photographs out of the X-Trans censored cameras. Wormies when you try to sharpen your pictures. There's other software that you can buy that's really good with that, but it's not the software that I'm used to. I'd hate to, to get a new camera and have to learn the whole new camera and learn all new software. That doesn't seem nearly as fun as just picking up a Z50 and going out and shooting. So I don't know. Maybe I should just buy a Sony A7R IV. I don't think so. So let me give you some channel announcements. I've got a bunch of videos coming up that I've already got finished. Let me see if I can pull them up so I'll remember and give them to you in the right order. The video that just came out Saturday was the one of my daughter and I going to Middle Creek Falls, and then today is Monday. This coming Wednesday is another me and Casey video, and it's 2 days worth of photography. We went to downtown Chattanooga and I took a few pictures of her. It's Portraits of My Daughter is what the video is called. I took some pictures of her in downtown Chattanooga, and then I took some portraits of her all with the Z6 and various lenses in Knoxville. Tennessee. We went up to visit the University of Tennessee, where she's considering going to college. And so that's going to be a fun video, short one, only 6 or so minutes. And then a few days after that, on February 29th, is a long video that is all about the Georgia Aquarium. Heather and I went to the Georgia Aquarium, and the first half of the video is kind of a photography video. I had the Z6 and the 105 f2.8 macro, and I kind of really struggled a little bit making pictures in there. The acrylic is really thick, and it's not always straight, and it's kind of hard to make a good picture through the acrylic. But anyway, the first half of the video is that, and the second half of the video is completely crazy. Heather puts on a wetsuit and gets in the football field size tank with the whale sharks, 31-foot long whale sharks, 4 of them. I think one of them's 31 feet, and all the rest of them are in the 20s. And there's manta rays in there. One of them has an 18-foot wingspan, and she's swimming around in there with them. And so anyway, that'll be a fun video. And then the video after that comes out March the 4th. My sister's husband and I hiked to Benton Falls, which is a place I've been quite a few times, and made a few videos. See you later, Eddie. And it is crazy because we've had like flood stage conditions around, and the waterfall was flowing so hard I could not take a picture because I couldn't. The only place where you can get your camera without getting swept downstream, tons and tons of mist was coming off the thing, and I couldn't even take a picture. But it was still a fun day. I ended up making a pretty cool photograph upstream and doing a new split toning technique, or new to me split toning technique. And then another video that's coming out pretty soon is a long-term and extra long-term review of the 500 f4 that I showed you earlier, and the 200 to 500. I've had the 500 f4 for 6 years, and I've had the 200 to 500 for 5, 4.5, something like that. A long time for both of them, and it's just a really in-depth comparison of those two 500mm Nikon lenses. So I'm really looking forward to all of those coming out. And then yesterday, Heather and Casey, Heather's my girlfriend, Casey's my daughter, and I, all three went back to Knoxville, and we did street photography. I've been trying to get better at street photography, inspired by my friend David Saylors, and we went to Knoxville, and I did, I think in one of my videos earlier, I talked about how I was going to try to do street photography one day, and I wasn't in the frame of mind where I could come up to somebody and put my camera up and snap a picture of them. Well, yesterday I had it, and I've got lots and lots of pictures in that video of people looking right at me, walking their dog and stuff in downtown Knoxville. So I'm really looking for, I haven't put it together. I really should be working on that right now, but I wanted to do this live stream, try it out. So those are the videos that are coming. Let's see, I'm gonna read some comments. Blue Newt tried the XT2 a couple years back, but was disappointed with the high ISO performance. That makes sense. Small sensor, that may be the same situation with the Z50 because it's got a small sensor as well. But I really, it's a similar sensor, I think, the Z50 to the D500, same exact size anyway, megapixels wise. And the D500 does pretty good in high ISO conditions. Eddie only uses Lightroom, and he uses it with Sony, Nikon, and Fuji's, no issues. So that's good. That's real good, as a matter of fact. But speaking of street photography, that's another thing did I mention that I like the idea of it being super small, because it's much less camera to come up to somebody and take their picture. Might be less off-putting. So anyway, also I did a poll. How crazy is that? I did a poll on my YouTube channel. I'd never done anything like that before. And I asked if people wanted me to create content continuing with my Z6, or to continue with my D500, which is the two. I mean, I've got a bunch of other cameras, but those are the two that most of my content is about. Or I slid in the Z50 and the X-T4 as choices. And then I also put as a choice some of my older cameras. I've got a D7000 laying around, a 7100, a D300S, and a D800. I got 78 votes, which I didn't think I'd get 10, but 78 people voted. So that's a pretty good number of people. And 64% said keep on using the Z6. And that makes sense because that's kind of the photography part of my channel. You know, my channel is all over the place. I've got room tours and restaurant reviews and theme park rides, all sorts of crap. But the majority of my channel is photography, and the majority of the photography on the channel is with and about the Z6. So that makes sense that 64% of the people responding said continue with the Z6. But just comparing the X-T4 and the Z50, it was super close. 13% said try the Z50 out, and 14% said try the X-T4. So that didn't help that much. It wasn't a landslide in one way or the other. But it was still kind of fun to see what people who took the time to respond to the poll were saying. So that is that. All right, well, I am going to call it a video. And what's going to happen is tomorrow night at midnight, there's going to be a big announcement. I think on FujiRumors.com, they'll have links to where you can stream the announcement. And I'm either going to order an XT4 right there, or maybe procrastinate and order a Z50, or, you know, I might order nothing at all. Who knows? But I'm kind of leaning towards the Z50, and I wanted to make this video and tell you why. Even though those two cameras don't really compete against each other that much, I think maybe the Z50 might be more of a competitor of an XT30, maybe, price point wise. I think the Z50 is really cool. And, you know, even though Tony Northrup said it was junk, lots of other people have come up and said, man, this thing is great. I don't know what he was talking about. So I'm excited about that. Oh, Blue Note has a DF. That is cool. I was showing Heather the DF just last night or the night before, and she really liked it. And I think the DF, correct me if I'm wrong, Blue, but I think the DF has a shutter button that you can screw an old style timer, spring-based timer into it, and use that as a timer on the DF. Or if not, it certainly appears that way. He says yes. Cool. We thought it was. You need to get you one of these. I don't know how much they cost on eBay or whatever. My buddy Percy gave me this. He found, I think Blue, doesn't it also have the same sensor as a D4 maybe? Really good in high ISO conditions. I think that was, yeah, D4, exactly. But anyway, that's a cool camera. I really like that. I wish Nikon would do a mirrorless camera and style it like that. That would push me right over the edge. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. And there could be some X-T4 or some Z50 content coming up in the future. I'm not sure which, but I'm certainly leaning towards Z50. Thanks a bunch. Now I have to figure out how to stop this thing. Bye-bye.